Good day to everyone. Today we are going to talk about task-based learning, but after that we would like to talk about a lesson plan. A lesson plan is a guide that teachers use to organize their classes, which include objectives, activities, and materials that help students to learn. So in short, it helps make learning more organized and effective. And now we are going to introduce you about the task-based learning. The main purpose of task-based learning is to develop communicative competencies by having students to complete real-world tasks such as planning a trip, solving a problem, use the target language. So it emphasizes on meaningful communication over role memorizations, and the students focus on using the language to express their ideas and interact with others, not only on repeating rules. It also encourages students to use the language to achieve a specific goal or complete a meaningful task. Now we have some characteristics about task-based learning. The first one, it is focused on meaning. So the primary goal is to use the language to communicate and complete a task. The authentic and relative tasks. So the lessons are about completing tasks that have relevance in your real life. The another one, it is student-centered. So the students or the learners are engaged in the learning process, collaborating with peers to achieve a common goal. The another one is the communicative competencies. The approach encourages the students to use the language creatively and spontaneously. Here the teacher is the facilitator. The teacher's role is to guide and support students by providing resources and feedback. And the last one is in this approach, all the students use the whole language, so all the language skills are integrated and used as needed to complete the task. Thank you.
Okay, and now let's talk about the stages or parts of task-based learning. So as for the first stage is pre-task, which is the introduction to the task, which has the purpose to prepare students for the main task. Here, the teacher's role is to introduce the topic by presenting useful vocabulary and explaining the task instructions and giving examples. And the student role is to brainstorm the ideas given by the teacher and practice the target language. The second stage or part is task. This is the core phase where students perform the main communicative task, and it has three substages. The first is task, where students complete the task in pairs or in groups, and they only focus on fluency and meaning. And the teacher is just the monitor or facilitator. In the planning, the students prepare to present their results, and the teacher provides language support. And the report is that the groups or the students present their outcomes to the rest of the class, and the teacher gives the corrective feedback on content and language use. And the last one is post-task, which is the analysis and practice. And the purpose here is to draw attention to language forms and improve accuracy. The analysis is that the teacher highlights useful words, phrases, and grammatical patterns from the student's work or task text. In practice, the students practice the new forms through controlled or semi-controlled activities, for example, gap fills, sentence transformations, or short dialogues.
And finally, we have an example of task-based learning lesson plan. This lesson plan follows the task-based learning designed for A2 level students. And in this plan, it focuses on the theme space exploration. And the objective of this plan is we have two, that is communicative goals and linguistic goals. The communicative goals is students practice describing how astronauts ate and what their daily routines are in space. And these skills are transferable to real-life situations, such as describing how to prepare food, talk about routines, or explain future activities. And the linguistic goal is students use the future progressive tense to describe ongoing future actions. In this plan, we can start with the warm-up that the teacher begins by asking a question to activate the students' curiosity and prior knowledge. Next, we have the task one. And task one is about the how will astronauts be eating in space. And in this task, students are divided into two groups. And each group receives half of a text describing how astronauts eat in space. And they read and try to remember key information. And then they reconstruct the text individually and later in pairs discussing meaning and structure. And finally, both groups combine their parts to complete the full text. And these tasks develop reading memory and collaboration skills. And finally, we have task two that again students are divided in two groups and each with half of a least astronaut's daily task. In pairs, they discuss and they then present their version to the class, answering questions such as, what will the astronauts be done first thing in the morning? And this task promotes speaking, listening, and interaction while practicing the target grammar in context. In conclusion, the lesson plan is effectively applies the principle of task-based learning by engaging students in meaningful communication through real-life tasks related to space exploration. Thank you.